Xbox 360.
Aquí el comedor. La cocina, porque ya está en la cocina.
Now, was there any original furniture in here? I know they said in the parlor and living room that horsehair furniture was.
There. Typically in the house we have about 50 to 60 items that do belong to the Lincolns, and we'll have them spread throughout the house. Those that are not the Lincolns are period pieces of that time frame. Just like those. Okay, the examples of those that are the Lincolns in the house here. The two chairs on the left-hand side by that table there are theirs. The table before you here where the strawberries sit, and what we have done is Mrs. Lincoln was known for her strawberry parties. She'd invite in the neighborhood ladies, and they would sit around and talk, and she would serve them strawberries and creams. But the table that fine china sits on does belong to Mrs. Lincoln. The mirror to your right here is hers. And the sewing table underneath that is also hers. Now, Mrs. Lincoln loved to do needlepoint. I'm going to give you a prime example of her work. On the sewing table to the right here, you're going to see that white cloth. It is for a young lady to wear in her hair at night. She will make it for one of the hired hands that were here during the time frame of Lincoln's work. Okay. So she'll make that. Okay. Anything else we're curious about?
Well, I should have asked it in the other room, but the heating system, I guess, or the stove that comes out of this first fireplace.
Right.
That was there when they lived here?
Yes. Not that particular stove. All right.
Oh, okay, but there was one like
There
that.
was ones like that. The stoves that the Lincolns have worn out. The only one that we have that's still of theirs is the one that's in the kitchen. We'll see that last time. But typically, the way to heat your house was the fireplace. But stoves became the rage in the 1840s, 1850s. They were more efficient. They put out more heat. So Mr. Lincoln is going to hire a friend of his to brick in the front of the fireplaces and put in stoves in each of the rooms. And that's 1849 when he's doing that. The only one that stayed as a fireplace is right here in the city room. He left this as a fireplace. We have put that little panel over the front there because the Lincolns would do that certainly in the summertime when you're not using it. Once spring rolls around, there are certain critters that do come out of hibernation. You do not want them running throughout your house. So certainly put something like that. Anything else? This is where a family could be a family. Go ahead. They are not. They are not. But certainly that is what they look like. Many people in this country thought that Mr. Lincoln in 1860, when he was running for president, still lived in a log cabin. He's in the West. He's in Illinois. He's this frontiersman, you know. And you know, of course, the Republican Party's presenting him as the rail splitter and using that. But Mr. Lincoln, as you look around this house, has grown up from that small log cabin. So the press actually came here to prove to the nation that he had grown up from that small log cabin. If you look in front of you here, you're going to see some illustrations that were done in 1860. This will actually go in Leslie's illustration newspaper edition, and it'll be published, and people will get an understanding of what Mr. Lincoln's homes looked like. And so we've tried desperately to take these rooms back to look like they did in 1860. So the balances that are there, certainly we've tried to take them back. Not original, but you can see the style that was here when the Lincolns were here. Anything else?
And what always is the most striking to me about this room is its size. You notice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. This room here was typically very open, all right, just like it is in your household. I don't know how it is in your household, but mine, it is the loudest room in the house. Right? Kids are playing, I'm in there with them, or watching TV, playing video games, we're interacting as a family. This is how it was when Lincoln's here. This is where a family could be a family. So you can imagine Mr. Lincoln sprawled across the floor, wrestling with his boys, playing checkers, or chess, or marbles, or maybe they're even riling up the dog fight in this very room. Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln were very lenient as parents. Not initially, but later in life they certainly were. It was a concern, all right, for the neighbors. All right. Typically at that time frame, children were to be seen and not heard. But you know, Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln had a different way of raising their children. Boys are boys, you're young only once. They overlook the boy things. So if the Lincolns were invited to an evening social, the neighbors were concerned whether they were bringing those Lincoln boys along and how much mischief and trouble they were going to get into.
So this home.
But you, young man, you never do any of that, right? You're innocent, right? You're an angel. Your sister is not agreeing with that statement, not for a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we head upstairs? We're going to check out Mr. Lincoln's chamber. Now, as we're going upstairs, it's going to be a little steep, so I'm going to ask you to do me a big favor. There is a hand railing there. Please do use the hand railing for your own safety. Right? It happens to be the very hand railing Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln and the boys used all those many years ago. I will permit you to touch that.